Hello, everyone, and welcome out to The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, a podcast where I sit down with some of my friends in the local Columbus, Ohio theater, film, and improv scene and talk a bunch of geeky stuff. Some of it good, some of it bad, but all of it definitely geeky. If you enjoy our programs, be sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and to leave a review, or subscribe and leave a review wherever you can get podcasts. Support for this podcast comes from our lovely backers on Kickstarter, like Jerome Wetzel, for example. Now, Jerome and I go way back. I would say way back. He was actually one of the people that helped this show become what it was. Initially, the show was started in 2005, late 2005, early 2006, as the No Name Show with DJ Mead, a.k.a. Nathan Haley. And then after like one or two episodes, it then transitioned into Jim and I talking. And we found pretty quickly that the stuff we wanted to talk about was not like just random stuff in the news. It was really just me and him talking about TV and movies and stuff. Me movies, more him TV, and we would meet in the middle. And when we realized that we weren't really doing the format of the show, which was called the No Name Show, it then birthed The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. So technically, Jerome has been there since the beginning, back when it was the No Name Show. So I kind of consider that our de facto date and when we started. But yeah, it's been great. So Jerome, thank you so much. Jerome is also the creator of It's All Been Done Radio Hour. Check out that at itsallbeendonradiohour.com. Our official sponsor of the show is Audible. With over 200,000 titles to choose from, get one audiobook and 2 Audible originals each month included with your trial, even once your trial ends and normal membership begins. How rad is that? Best part is you own your library, meaning you keep the books even if you cancel with Audible. Plus, you get easy exchanges. So, don't love a book? Swap it out for free anytime. Sign up for your free trial over at audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky. Download the Audible app and start enjoying your new audiobook. We're also part of the It's All Been Done Presents Network, a Columbus, Ohio-based multi-platform creative network. Let us entertain you. We're also voted one of Columbus's top picks for 2017 and 2018. And we have tons of podcasts, frameworks, reviews, videos, and more. For more information, go to iebdpresents.com. In this episode, we talk about the 1984 film Gremlins and anything that we can think about. So you're going to hear some really cool stuff. In the episode, we had Jessica Gibson, Dallas Ray, Ella Pilardi, and Scott Wheeler. But you also hear a little message from our guest, a surprise guest, at least via video introduction, Zach Galligan, the star of Gremlins, or the human star, I should say. He played Billy Peltzer. And so we get a nice little fun tidbit from him regarding the production of the Gremlins movies. And I really think that you guys are going to enjoy this episode. This is the first one we've done live in the MadLab space, so there were some technical challenges, and hopefully some of that doesn't carry through. One of the technical challenges was that I forgot to think about was people in the audience started shouting out questions or comments, and I hope we tried to repeat them, but if we didn't, we apologize in advance. And also, Jessica and Dallas had to share a microphone. That was 100% on me. So apologies on that too. But it's a live and learn situation, and we hope you enjoy it. If there's anything else you want to say about Gremlins, join in on the conversation with us by interacting via social media or email. Twitter and Instagram as username goodbadgeeky, or email me at goodbadgeeky@gmail.com. We may read your comment on the show. Okay, enough of this. Let's get to The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky live from MadLab Theater, recorded August 17th, 2019. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome out to MadLab Theater for The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky Live. Before we begin, we did kind of promise a surprise for everyone who showed up. And we have a special guest via video introduction. And this is a person who was involved in the original 1984 Gremlins film.
Hey everybody, Zach Galligan here, and you're listening to a live podcast discussing the 1984 feature film Gremlins. First of all, shout out to MadLab Theater in Columbus, Ohio, and everyone listening at home. Thought I would tell you a very quick story about the production of Gremlins 2. So when we were making Gremlins 2, it was shot almost entirely on Warner Brothers Studio in Burbank, California. And people always ask me, were you allowed to have a gremlin or take a gremlin or a gizmo from the set? Do you have one at home? And the answer is no. And one of the reasons why is, well, first of all, I wouldn't take it anyway. But even if I was thinking about taking a gremlin or a mogwai from the set, the Warner Brothers security would search my car every single day that I left the studio. And I would say, you do kind of realize I'm like one of the main actors in this film, don't you? To which they would say, yes, that's why we're searching your car, because you have opportunity to abscond with said gremlin. So there you go. I could never actually take one, even if I wanted to, because I was constantly being searched by Warner Brothers security. Yeah. So remember, don't get them wet. Don't expose them to bright light. And I would recommend not giving them any form of sustenance after approximately 12 o'clock at night. See you guys soon.
So soon, that's an anonymous, creepy message. But no, that was Zach Galligan. He played Billy Peltzer in the original and the sequel, Gremlins and Gremlins 2, the new batch. So, yeah. So,
am I allowed to say something? Can I talk yet?
Well, yes. I guess let's introduce our guests that we have on.
It's about that video. That's why.
No, please do. Just go for it.
Did anyone else notice he filmed that in his bathroom? There was a towel rack.
I did not notice that.
I think he might have been on the John.
He's like all of us.
Oh my god.
I think people will use it for ASMR because it was very whispery.
I love ASMR.
And I love how the antidote was for Gremlins 2. It wasn't for Gremlins.
No, I know. I said, can you please do it for Gremlins? Not, and I even said not the second movie. But he still did it, and so we're very thankful and appreciative. So, Zach, thank you very much for doing that. Yeah. Give a round of applause for Zach. That was nice of him. Yeah. So let's go through our guests from my left to right. So we have Scott Wheeler from Cinema Wheeler-Tay. Yeah. And then after that, we have Ella Perardi from Comedy Sports Columbus. And then we have Dallas Ray from MadLab and the... I almost forgot your last name and what you were doing. MadLab Ensemble and also The Dallas Show. So, yeah. And then also a MadLab Ensemble member, and she's also with Amanda's Picture Show, A Go-Go, Jessica Gibson. So,
that's me.
So we're going to talk about the 1984 film's Gremlins, executive produced by, we're going to name drop here, Steven Spielberg is the executive producer, directed by Joe Dante, which people might be on that one, but written by Chris Columbus. Home Alone, the first two Harry Potter movies. And just a word of warning for you guys out there that we'll be talking a lot of spoilers and not just on Gremlins. So
if they haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it yet, really sorry about that. And then number two, if you've seen anything else that we might talk about, we're sorry in advance. So, all right. So now, the interesting thing, let's start with this, because one of us has just seen it today. Despite everything going on.
For the first time?
For the first time. Mr. Dallas Ray.
Yeah, I'd never seen it. I saw it today. It was wonderful. It was okay.
It was okay.
So we'll just do like a quick synopsis. I think we just got it. It was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I like that it's I didn't know how scary it was gonna get. Yeah. I say scary. I wasn't scared. It was more. It just shifted into horror because at first it's super light and it's like, look, a really really advanced pet, which I wouldn't have taken in the first place. But anyway, no, I like that it got very dark and very like dark comedy very quickly. So, yeah. All right. Well, I would jump to you first, and you're like third in the table, so I'm going to jump back. So, Scott, what did you think?
I think it's a perfect movie.
Whoa, more perfect than Godzilla?
It's a spectrum of perfection.
There's a spectrum of perfection.
Yeah.
I get you.
No. I like it because it doesn't make any sense. But I watched the whole thing and I say, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Well, the best thing is that I feel like movies like this don't get made anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Where they take a really big risk of none of these rules make any sense. Scientifically, you can't back them up. Not really. You know, don't get them wet. I guess they reproduce. Cool. Sunlight kills them, so they're vampires. Yeah. And then also, don't eat after midnight. But it's midnight's always somewhere, which is a great joke they make in the next movie.
Yeah.
Making fun of that. But like, yeah. But like they are so gung ho and trying to make you believe the premise that at least for me, I didn't care. Like, I mean, if I think about it too hard when the movie's over, then I'm like, oh no,
yeah,
this doesn't hold up. But
well, yeah, it's my favorite Christmas movie, and then it's also my favorite Cocoon movie.
All right.
Cocoon 2 is number 2.
All right, so Ella, what did you think of the movie?
Second favorite Cocoon movie.
Which Cocoon movie?
The first
Cocoon
one.
or the
first
sorry.
Cocoon one?
The first Cocoon.
With Wilford Brimley, who's like, I think only 40, but he looks 80 in that movie.
Everybody that's 40 used to look 80 to me. No, I watch this movie every Christmas. It's a great Christmas movie, so it's tradition for me to watch it every year in the holiday season. As far as the rules not making sense, it's a movie, so it's fine. Howie Mandel, little side story. I once sold him a pin at Disney World. He's the voice of, Gizmo. So, yeah, I met the voice of Gizmo.
That's awesome.
You just watched it the first time today. Shush.
Why was he buying the pin?
I don't know, but he was very proud to be Howie Mandel. He was wearing a T-shirt that said "Deal or No Deal," so he was not trying to be inconspicuous.
He's like,
did he try to get you to make him a deal or no deal on this pin?
No, he had money. He just bought it. Anyway, it's a good movie. Next.
All right, Jessica, what did you...
I also really like this movie. I haven't seen Cocoon since I was probably 4, so I could not say a good comparison. So this is probably number 1 for me. I watch it indiscriminate of time or season. So, but I do have the excuse once it hits Halloween to put Gremlins on at the video store and continue watching it through Christmas. So it's versatile.
It's also up there with, was it Nightmare Before Christmas and other movies.
It was released in summer.
It was June 8th, which was also in 1984, which is also the same day that Ghostbusters was released. Well, let's talk about the fact that I think we've all pretty much said that it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Which, Dallas, I mean, being that you watched it recently, do you feel it's a Christmas movie?
Yeah, because there's Christmas in it. But my favorite part of the movie is when they're like, we started the chimney and the fireman came and we expected there to be a cat and it was her dad.
Oh my God, yeah. So
I was like, what? Perfect. Keep going.
Well, the best part is too is like Phoebe Cates sells it, and it's really the whole scene's really good. But like supposedly there was I have random factoids, by the way, prepped and ready to go, and this is one of them. Was apparently the Santa speech was apparently the executives did not like it, and they went to Steven, and Steven's like, I think it's a little too morbid. Like we should probably cut it. But Joe Dante was just like, every time he would show a new cut of the movie, he would refuse to cut it out. And finally Spielberg's just like, I'm with Joe. I mean, I don't get it, but it's your movie. Please do whatever you want. Which is interesting because there's a lot of weird notes where like Spielberg wanted certain things. Like apparently Gizmo was supposed to turn into Stripe originally. There was no Stripe. And then so the production team had to like frantically create a Mogwai that had a stripe on it. And then redo Gizmo's animatronic face to make it look more pleasant. And also, like, originally Billy killed Stripe at the end, not Gizmo, where Gizmo flies across and pulls it. That was Steven Spielberg, because he's just like, kids are going to love Gizmo. And we need a feel for one of them. And I'm like, do we?
We need to sell a ton of these. Let's make one
That's
of them
what
go.
it is, yeah.
It really is. But yeah, it was a huge merchandising thing, which was funny. When I was little, I remember kids my age were seeing the movie. And they were just liked how mischievous the Gremlins were, but I never saw any toys for them. But I know they do exist. Like there was a whole thing. There was plush animals and the whole.
I had the Gizmo toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
see?
the McDonald's toys?
No.
No, they had McDonald's toys for them.
They had McDonald's toys?
Yeah.
What were they, like little figurines?
Like Gizmo in the Barbie car or whatever.
That's pretty awesome.
It was.
And by the way, that means that toy was probably bitching because all the all the old 80s what?
Kitchen McDonald's toys.
All the 80s McDonald's toys were the fucking shit, man. Like
they?
the Muppet Babies ones. I mean, they were all.
Is that when you could dress up the Mcnuggets?
Yeah, they had one where
I
you could
think
dress
that
up
was
the
90s.
McNuggets.
That was the 90s.
Oh, that was the 90s?
Yeah,
I thought that.
was the thing.
I was just asking.
No, Arby's had the best toys, the little figurines. I don't know if anybody remembers the Arby's Mr. Mist and Little Miss figurines.
I know what you're talking about. They look like, I don't even know how to describe it. They look like a really bad 60s, 70s UPA cartoon acid trip in animated form, and they made figures for them.
Yeah, it looked like the stuff that didn't make it into like Sgt. Pepper's cartoons or something.
Yeah, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts
Oh,
Club
no,
Band.
like Yellow Submarine,
Yellow
like all the
Submarine.
discarded characters.
Yeah, like they look like little nebulous shapes, right?
Yeah.
Wait, these things?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
What is it?
They would come in
Oh, but
Arby's.
that's like
Like the Little Miss Sunshine,
Little Miss,
Mister,
Little Mister,
Punch
yeah.
Your Face. I don't know.
Yeah, the Arby's would have them all. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
forever.
Man, I have not thought of that in a long time.
Man, those are cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
to be young again.
Oh, it's a- So this is actually, if you watch the second one, that's more of a straight up like chaotic farce. Like it makes fun of just sequels, and even makes fun of the first movie like hardcore. But this one, as Dallas said, this one veers really into horror pretty quickly. When we watched it the other day, Jess and I really do feel like the scene with the mom in the house in the
My
Gremlins.
favorite scene?
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's actually the intensity builds up really well. Even though I think I said to Jess when we were watching, I was like, they have that really wonderful shot of "Do you hear what I hear?" And then they show like she goes through and you see her, and then when she turns around, you see the shadow of Stripe, and it's crazy creepy. And then she hears another noise and she goes into the kitchen and voila. But like I was like, man, it's really bright in that house to cast that shadow. But
Wait, plus, yeah, it's sunlight. Wait.
right.
And
But even with that, it's still just a downright creepy scene. And I think I read in preparation for that, and I think I showed it with Jessica, when she stabs the gremlin with the knife, if you pay attention in the background, he's kind of like slowly pulling it up and like kicking his arms up. And apparently there was a shot that would have pushed into rated R territory where he's slowly pulling up and they focus on it while she's like spraying the gremlin and putting him in the microwave. And I'm just like, damn. Like,
well, apparently they cut off her head originally too. They were going to cut off the mom's head.
yeah, with one of the swords that dropped, they were going to take it.
Oh.
It's just ridiculous because mom wrecks the gremlins shit.
Yeah.
She messes them up.
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, what are you doing her dirty, getting her caught up in this Christmas tree?
Mm-hmm.
She just slaughtered 3 of them.
Yeah.
Mom's a badass.
She's a badass.
Oh,
The
yeah,
original
and-
BA.
And the
right.
and the thing with the toy in the stocking, which Jessica did point out, I was like, who the fuck's toy is that? And I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, have you seen Billy's room? It's probably for Billy, but I mean, it's a valid question.
Maybe it's
Billy's
Corey
room?
Feldman's.
Yeah.
Corey.
I don't understand
Pete.
Billy's deal though. Like he's working in a bank, he's old enough to do that, but he hangs out with like 12-year-olds.
Well, and they keep saying he's a teenager.
Oh yes.
Have
So
you
he's
not seen
only
Stranger Things?
18?
That's what people did in the 80s. Teenagers hung out with young boys.
I couldn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
over the
In a good
TV
way.
in his room that I was certain was going to fall on his head. He had that TV that just like
Oh
sat
yeah, the
there,
old
and I was
TV.
like, that's going to crush something. That's
Yeah.
all I focused on. Cool.
Not a gremlin. Dang it.
Yeah.
So this film, I think for me, because I don't remember The Howling as well, because Joe Dante did The Howling. He likes to throw a lot of sci-fi references into his movies, and Gremlins, at least, it actually is kind of foreshadowing. Like they play, I think what's the movie? It's like they're here, they're already
Body Snatchers?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yeah, the original one, and
that's my favorite Cocoon movie.
that's your favorite.
Just think about it. No, I like Gremlins.
Gremlins?
They're 1A, 1A, 1B. I forgot about the cocoons and body snatchers. No, those are pods.
Those are pods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pods.
because they
That's
look
your
like
favorite pod
gigantic.
movie.
Never mind.
Yeah, different.
That's my favorite pod movie.
Did anyone catch the cameo by Steven Spielberg?
Yes.
At
I
the
mean, well, Jessica, I
convention.
pointed it out to you, but
He was
He's
the
the
guy
dog,
in the,
yeah.
in the wheelie like thing. So when Roy Axton, the dad. Randy
Dad,
Peltzer.
yeah.
He's at the convention. There's a guy that walks by on a weird bike cart. That's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
The guy, the weird, he looks like a mad scientist, white hair, behind him on the phone, behind the dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's the composer, Jerry Goldsmith. They had the time machine in the background of that scene, too, from H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. If you paid attention, in one shot, he's like, well, let me talk to your mom or whatever, how things are going. And it shows it starting to go up. And then when you cut back to Billy and you cut back to them, the time machine's gone.
Ooh.
It's like a weird little thing. And then Robbie the robot is walking by. And he's trying to do he's trying to guess his weight.
Yeah.
It's just really weird.
I've never noticed any of these things going on.
Yeah, he's at the sci-fi convention.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Inventors Convention. right?
Inventors Convention, yeah. Which, that was the scene that got cut out, was how they explained how Gizmo got his name, which was he was playing with the bathroom buddy, and we watched one deleted scene where he was talking to the old Chinese man, and he was like, this is a great little gizmo. It's called the bathroom buddy. Mm-hmm. And he started working, and apparently...
Bathroom buddy.
Sounds convenient.
Well, hey, say you're walking around there, and you realize you got a big meeting today, and you go, didn't shave. So, it's like, good thing I have my bathroom buddy here, and I can just
giant thing out of your pocket.
Yes.
Very inconvenient. You may as well just have a Swiss Army knife and
It's broken, by the way.
yeah.
How are you supposed to wash everything off? I guess find a bathroom.
He didn't think that far, which is why it's a flawed product.
It's just so big. It's so
Yeah,
big.
the 80s was all about bad inventions. Every movie had a bad invention that didn't do what it was supposed to.
Well,
This one had all of them.
This one, yeah.
Every single one.
Also, he had a card counter or something like that
Yeah.
too, and I was like, what are you going to do with that?
He's going to create Uno Attack. And then he did.
I leaned over to Nick. I was like, did card dealers not exist in the 80s? Mechanical?
I figured he was either fixing it for a side job, or he was trying to use it to create something else, and then
Gremlin killing weapons.
yeah, then the Gremlins kind of screwed things up. Also, interesting thing was, actually Jessica said it. I was going to save it till after the movie was over, but she leaned over. She's like, I think that's the set from Back to the Future, and I was just like, it is. It is. The movie theater is where Marty ran the car into the theater. You can't see the clock tower, but it's there. That whole street is just, yeah.
And when I said that this movie is, what did I say it was? It was unbelievable.
Your
I don't
top
know.
pod movie?
Yeah, it's my top pod movie.
It's your top pod and Cocoon movie.
Well, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm not talking about the rules. Those make perfect sense. It's the
Okay.
It's the fact that it's a Warner Brothers movie, but they show extensive scenes from a Disney movie.
Oh.
Which
Well,
you would
that's-
never see today.
No, you would not.
They,
That's
they
Spielberg,
play
man.
extensive scenes from Snow White.
I was interested to see what you thought of the end of the movie. So for those who don't remember, the Gremlins go into a theater, and matter of fact, she's like, what are they doing? They're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, but Dallas is, we're all huge Disney, but Dallas in particular is a big Disney fan. I was like, I'm just intrigued on what he thought of that.
I said, of course they picked the most annoying Disney movie to watch, and they loved it. It deserved to be blown out.
Yeah.
That's the best thing.
It really, and also they're putting popcorn bags on their ears and all kinds of crazy stuff. There was one of them wearing mouse ears in the background and doing stuff. And also there's one of them that really wants some fucking Milk Duds and keeps bugging Stripe for him.
Most relatable gremlin.
The Milk Dud Gremlin. And then Stripe got up. If it wasn't for that Milk Dud Gremlin, Stripe would have died in the theater with the rest of them. So
Milk Dud.
So what did Gremlins do?
what do Gremlins do?
They just they cause havoc by role playing different characters and then acting out those roles.
They do. Oh, matter of fact, at one point I didn't catch it till this one time. It was one of them was wearing Mrs. Deagle's wig. And so Stripe, there was one they were playing poker at the table. Stripe and matter of fact, because she's like, they're cheater, and then Stripe kills the other grandma. I was like, I think that's Mrs. Deagle's costume, or not her costume. It was her wig and her whatever.
Lipstick and her fur coat.
Yeah, Mrs. Deagle. Well, that was a subplot that got
Mrs.
cut too. Was she was buying up the whole town so she could close Kingston Falls down, and. Yeah, there was a whole other subplot that got cut out of that
There's a lot of
movie.
strong female characters, for better or worse, in this 80s film. I'll give it that.
That is true. Phoebe Cates is... Well, we looked this up. There's a thing that apparently this movie placated the rumor that the holidays are the most depressive time of the year, and I thought that was true. And then we looked it up, and it's like, no, statistically that is just horribly wrong. So when Phoebe Cates is, Kate is telling Billy, like, why is everyone so happy at Christmas time? Like, a lot of people get depressed, and it's really bad. And I'm like, I always thought that was okay, but that is not the case.
It's the highest rate of depression of the year, you mean?
Yeah, it's usually...
She says more people commit suicide during the holidays than any other time of the year, and that's the opposite of what's true. It's the...
was it fall and spring,
really?
Right? Because
when the weather changes is when the suicide rate spikes, according to the CDC.
So this bothered me this last time I watched it. Why didn't Stripe just jump into the pool right to the get-go? He broke into the YMCA. Why is he trying to, he hides into the one panel so he can, just scare Billy?
That would be for dramatic intent.
I appreciate the dramatic intent, I guess, but I guess after thinking about it, I was just like, oh, why would he do that? I mean, yeah, cool. He got a swipe in.
He hung a dog from Christmas lights.
Oh my God! Yes, he did.
Without killing it.
Yeah,
One, impressive.
Which,
Two, he's kind of dramatic.
So
So
Ella mentioned earlier that the mom was supposed to get her head chopped off. Originally, the dog Barney was supposed to die there too. And it led to further problems between Mrs. Deagle and Billy.
Oh, because he probably thought she killed the dog?
Yeah. And also, I caught too, I've seen this movie so many times, but where she even goes, she's like, I forget how she says it, but she almost makes a reference to a door. And remember, he goes, well, the door was locked. Well, maybe she broke through the door. And she's like, when she threatens the dog, and he's like, well, he's not here right now. And I was just like, oh, that's like it was supposed to further this subplot where, he really thought everything was Mrs. Deagle's fault. But sheriffs, not good sheriffs either. One of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is they're driving along and the fucking gremlins are on top of Santa Claus. And they're like, this is wrong name. It's like, isn't that Billy Mays? Like, he dresses as Santa Claus every year. Yeah. Yes, he's the clean guy. He's not getting clean now. But the gremlins are all over. And
they all
like, start the car, Frank. Start the car, Frank. Can you please start the car? I'd like to go back now, please. And he's just watching. He's like, what the hell's that on him? Like, you're a police officer. Come on, man.
Santa every year.
Yeah, he plays Santa every year. That's what you see when you see a bunch of little monsters tearing him apart? Oh, my God. It's just... It is, but that's again another one of my favorite little dark humor moments in the movie where, and also there's the gremlin going la 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 la, and he's like slowly winding the window up, do something, take your car. Yeah, you hit the guy, but you might knock a gremlin off or something. But and also during the police station, he's like, this thing multiplies with water. Hey, Frank, get some water.
Yeah.
No, what are you doing? But. So, what do we think of the effects of the movie for an 80s film? I mean, were they gay?
Okay, so each of these gremlin, which there get to be quite a lot of them, is animatronic, right?
Yes.
There's also stop motion.
There was one major scene of stop motion when
Which
they're
one?
Where they come out of the dark on the street. Stripe comes out first into the light, and then he turns around, and he's like, "Meh." They all come out. That's my gremlin.
Yeah, that's the only stop motion scene in the movie, and originally there were supposed to be monkeys wearing gremlin costumes. No joke.
Stupid.
It's totally stupid. That's what Warner Brothers executives wanted, and the special effects guy Chris Wallace, he was just like, I think I'm saying his name right. Yeah, Chris Wallace. He was just like, I don't think that would work. We could do it really quickly with either stop motion or give us a little bit more money. We can do animatronics. Yeah, so. Well, they put the gremlin mask on the monkey, and apparently in Joe Dante's office, and it just started shitting everywhere and started going batshit insane.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
which I would too. I mean, I would definitely, defecate on Joe Dante's desk, and
I like these executives. Just put some monkey,
Yeah,
put some mask on
right.
some monkeys.
And apparently the story goes is that after they got the monkey the hell out of there, Joe Dante just turned to Chris Wallace. He's like, so puppets or stop motion? Yeah, let's do that. Which is funny because he ended up hated working on the movie. Because Spielberg would come up, he's like, well, because again, Gizmo wasn't supposed to be the good guy. So now we have Gizmo last minute being thrown into scenes was never meant to be a part of. And also, like, Zach Galligan complained, I think, in one interview, he's like, yeah, it was really awkward kissing Phoebe Cates, like, and I was super excited for it because I had a mad crush on her, but it was weird because Steven Spielberg was like, turn a little bit more this way. He was like helping Joe direct the scene because he wanted you to see Gizmo.
Oh.
Like, and he's like, really? I'm trying to work here, man. And you wanting me to show Gizmo to the
First mistake, getting excited about a kissing scene.
That's
not
true.
exciting.
Well, I think that was his first major movie, and like one of the reasons why they cast
And his
him.
last.
He was in
I can
Wax.
say it.
He was in, that's true. He was in Waxworks though as well. I mean,
yeah. So like
yeah,
Scott
that's
said,
I know.
in
I
his
know.
last.
That's such a big.
Oh, he was
movie.
in the new batch.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that movie was supposed to be a big hit for everybody, and it just wasn't. And yeah.
It's a cult classic now.
It is. I like it a little bit more than this film, but it's a completely different film at all.
You like it more? You said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
again,
funny,
it's a very different movie though. Like
the Frank Sinatra bit.
Yeah.
And the Lady Gremlin.
I was
love-
excited because
love
Hulk
the Lady
Hogan was
Gremlin.
in it, and then it was just a
I-
cameo.
Shocker Gremlin.
Shocker. Gremlin. Yes. Oh, there is a Key and Peele sketch too.
Yes.
So in Gremlins 2, Rick Baker, the guy who did the effects, so first off, they tried making a movie for years and they couldn't get off the ground because Gremlins was a huge hit for Warner Brothers. And Joe Dante's like, I'm done, I don't want to do it. And so he walked away, and they kept going to like Ridley Scott and all these other people, and they're like, we don't want to fucking do Gremlins 2. Are you kidding me? and finally they wanted it so bad to make that sweet Gremlins money. And so they went to Joe Dante and they're like, we'll give you you can do whatever the fuck you want. And so he's like, so I want Rick Baker. So Rick Baker's like, well, I will only do it if I can make up and create Gremlins. And he's like, this is the Key and Peele sketch technically. He's like, so what if I want a girl gremlin with big old boobies and big old red lips? It's in the movie. All right, what if I want an electric gremlin? It's in the movie, Rick. What about a spider gremlin? In the movie. Like he just kept going, and he's like, and the original Mogwais, they'll all look different. They'll all have names, so they just don't look like, Mogwai 1, Mogwai 2. It's like Lenny, George, Daffy, and Mohawk. Just like, cool. So then they gave Joe Donnie's like, I'll do it. And they gave him, he could do whatever he wanted. So he just made fun of the first movie horribly. And then he had like a Looney Tunes cartoon at the beginning. Chuck Jones had a cameo in Gremlins, 1984. He was the guy he was showing the artwork to at the bar. And he's like, what do you think of this, Chuck? And he's like, it's pretty good, Billy. That's Chuck Jones.
Nice.
So yeah, so honestly, it's like a gigantic Looney Tunes movie that's better than Back in Action or Space Jam, but with Gremlins. Because it's just madcap insanity. I mean, that's which I like Looney Tunes, so that's why I like Gremlins 2.
I always forget that Judge Reinhold's in this movie.
Yes, Judge
And he just-
Reinhold, the
in the
honorable
beginning,
Judge
he plays
Reinhold.
Kind
like-
of disappears.
Yeah, he hits on Phoebe Cates, and then he's like,
Well, so I showed, I showed Jess one of the deleted scenes, which is where after the big depressing "That was my father" in the chimney scene, they hear a noise and they go check it out, and he's just like, well, they got the bank manager, and they show a picture of him, and they like took his nameplate and ran it through his chest. I mean, he looked,
Oh, really?
and, yeah, it was kind of disturbing, even for that film. And then he's just like, they got him, but I was smart and locked myself in this thing. And he's in the vault. He locked himself in the vault.
Oh.
And he's like sweating profusely. He's like, they didn't get me. And then he's
all
like,
I'm
where's...
going to be,
Yeah.
I'm the president now. And they're like, we need to get you out of here. And they're like, why? You think I'm going to give you a job?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
What do you think,
I'm
you're
in
going to be the
charge
vice
now.
president of the company now that I'm the president? Well, you're not getting it, Peltzer. And they're like, okay. And they lock him back in.
They just kind of
Yeah. Well,
click.
the Futtermans, did anyone feel really kind of sad that happened with the Futtermans? Dun, 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 dun,
The
dun,
first
dun.
time you hear the music,
Yeah.
so I loved it.
Well, they played the Gremlin rag, yeah.
Sorry.
Murray. It's like, should have got a Zenith, because at the time they were still made in the U.S., and apparently he's very...
Gremlins, those damn foreign cards.
Yeah. He's like, finding the good old WII. It's like, wow. Actually, when I grew up, I didn't know what World War II was called, WWII, and that's how I learned it from watching Gremlins. Learned a lot from watching movies. It's very sad.
We can tell.
But what else did we like about the movie? And then we can talk about what we didn't like, because
I find it funny that Mrs. Deagle's animals are named after currency.
yeah,
It's
dollar
like
bill,
I think one's
Deutschmark.
drachma.
No, hold on. I actually think I have it.
It's
Yeah.
something, and then there's one that I don't know what it is, but I assume it's also money.
It's Kopek, Drachma, and dollar bill. I'm not saying that right. Drachma.
Yeah.
Drachma. Drachma, I guess.
Sure. So yeah, and then like she's just hilarious anyway, because I think Sarah said she's like the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Like, the Wicked Witch of the West. Like,
Which
I'll get you, my pretty.
Which technically that was what she was supposed to be referencing. Like, that was very on purpose that she did that.
Her death's my favorite. When she just zooms on her electric chair straight out the window, and she's like legs up in the
Also,
in the snow.
It's very satisfying.
Hilarious.
Longest staircase ever, by the way.
I know.
She lives in a skyscraper.
Well, also I thought it was interesting is that it makes sense to me that Gizmo can read, because you see him on the bed reading the magazines or comic books or whatever. But like, I just now thinking of this, like, how the hell do they know her name's Deagle? I mean, they've not seen Mrs. Deagle, but then I was like, oh, they can read it says Deagle Estates, because that's one of the things. Stripes like Deagle, and whatever, and then they.
Oh, are we moving on
Center.
to plot holes?
I
We
mean,
like.
Oh, sorry.
no,
Mine
this
was
is.
murder.
Well, also, I just like to, like, it's very 80s that to show her body, she's like, the chair's just there and the legs are up. I'm like, no, she'd not even be connected to that chair anymore. But yeah. So anything else that we enjoyed really about the movie besides Mrs. Deagle's death, which is very gratifying in some ways.
I love how much the Gremlins love being Gremlins. Like, like they just like because when they were Mogwais, they were not happy, and then they turned into Gremlins. They're like, yes, this is how I really
This
feel.
is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Gizmo was the only one. He's like, I don't want any of that chicken. I'm good. Which also that scene was disgusting, where they show them up close.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why do they have human teeth? Okay, sorry.
Well, is it the Sonic the Hedgehog movie? The one thing I love is that they take a lot of, in the beginning, they talk about the rules very, very like seriously.
Yeah.
And I love how they talk about it. But then when he gets the Gizmo wet and he tells his dad handles it very like, all right, whatever. And then he sees that they multiply, and he's all excited. It's like,
Well, he wants to make sweet money off
Oh,
of
the Peltzer pet.
The Peltzer pet, and you're like, this is bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hard pass. I really love the final speech, like the voiceover at the end that the dad's giving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And,
if
like giving you the warning, like there just might be a
gremlin in your
house.
house.
It's like yes.
Like, cool.
Merry
Great, awesome.
Christmas.
I like how Mr. Wing doesn't have a car and he has to walk.
So that means he
That's
walked
why
all
I
the way
took
from
it.
New York,
He walked all the way
Chinatown,
from Sanford
to which
Is it
where
New York
is-
Chinatown or is it?
It's New York Chinatown.
Okay, New York
and
Chinatown.
I'm assuming that's what it is, because that's what it is in Gremlins too.
Yeah.
So I'm using headcanon for the first movie. I'm going to assume
There
that's
you
what
go.
it is.
And I lived on the assumption that was a controversial part of this movie, and then I read Wikipedia, and I guess it's not. It's something else.
No, yeah. So this is what was one of the things I was going to talk about. Apparently, there was controversy because some group thought that the movie was saying that they were mimicking or making fun of African Americans, which I watched that movie and I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. Well, in terms of other things that could be bad of the movie, minus a few plot holes, like what do we not like about this movie? I find it hard to actually like not like the movie and find like actual bad things that, like, if I really want to pick at it, I guess I could, but like it's taken me this long to actually go, oh geez, plot holes. I mean, obviously outside of the rules, but
It's too short. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It could be 3 hours easily.
actually there was a cut that was like 2 hours and 44 minutes long because
Quentin Tarantino's.
I want to see more of that bar scene where she's
Still serving
Just
them?
sitting
she's
there
still serving them,
Yeah.
which is my favorite part of it.
that would be the Tarantino version, not. Well, so
Stress
they're
flash.
mad. So supposedly all the subplots that got cut with like Mrs. Deagle and the land grab. Matter of fact, every person that Billy says hello to, there was a subplot about that person, or you got to see their demise. So, like, remember there was the one guy that comes up and talks to Pete buying the tree. He, like, smokes the pipe. I think it's Carey Jr. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, that guy. But that. Well, hi. I like to buy a Christmas tree. All right. Hi. There's a gremlin over there. Hi. No, I'm so sorry for that. So, but no, like, matter of fact, you got to see his hand get eaten by the mailbox gremlin. The father, Dr. Moreau, there was like, I think there was something also I read cut out where the woman and the two children, you got to see what happened to them. Like, they followed everyone in town to find out what happens to them. And then, because Joe Dante worked under Roger Corman, and which is, if you have a limited amount of money, like we have like $500 to shoot a movie in like a day, we're shoot to edit, which means shoot as much as you can and we can edit it down later. And so apparently he fucking shot to edit the whole movie and the original script or whatever. And then they were like, yeah, we can cut that. We really want a PG-13 movie. Cut that. Yeah. So, yeah, that is funny that you said that. I am intrigued to watch that movie, but I don't think it would be an enjoyable experience. It would just be more like cool, so that's how the father died, and that's how that other guy died, and, you know, I think Pete survived. Yay. The Futtermans lived.
Was there like a TV show, or is it just movies?
It's movies. There's a TV show coming out, I think, called The Gift, the Mogwai Gift or something for Netflix.
Let's say they have all this stuff. It'd be a cool TV show.
It would be. So
because you
the
could stretch
Gremlin
it out and get all these things out of the way, but
yeah, no, that would be. I would love to see a Gremlins TV
Netflix,
show.
if you're listening.
Yeah, but I think they're working on it.
Match up those 80s properties.
All right, here's the plot hole that bothered me.
Okay.
And we haven't mentioned this scene or this person at all yet, I don't believe. The teacher, the science teacher.
Oh my God, yeah.
And this always bothered me because I'm pretty sure, having watched this movie annually at Christmas, that it was Christmas Eve day and the kids were in school. We didn't do that in the 80s. Christmas break is like from December 18th.
Yeah, I feel like
New
that's
Year.
a little...
They were like in class on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and I feel like also this stuck out to me the other day. And it could also because my wife she is a teacher. Hey.
Your now wife is a teacher.
My now wife is a teacher, as opposed to my old wife, who is the same person. I'm just going to stop there.
Hi, Sarah.
No, but Pete is trying to talk to him because the Mogwai woke up, or the cocoon, whatever it is, the metamorphosis happened, and he's trying to get all the kids out so he can find the gremlin. And Pete's just like, can I talk to you about something that's kind of serious? He's like, no, homework, get out. I was like, well, that's me.
Yeah.
But I was like, what if it was serious? Like, what if he has to wear that fucking Shriek outfit again and he's having panic attacks? And I don't know. That's not true. He's probably not. I don't know. That kind of irked me for a second. I was like, well, that's not a very good teacher. That's why he dies.
He got his.
Yeah.
No, so what was...
Snickers.
That's right.
Hey, don't let hunger happen to you.
He's like, let me feed it to this animal. What kind of science
That's
teacher is
right. They should make a commercial where the gremlin eats a Snicker and turns back into the Mogwai.
That would be
the rules.
Warner Brothers. We are giving you
Even
gold.
if he eets it after midnight because it's a Snickers.
Yeah, that would
Magic.
be. I am totally on board. That's a good idea. We should get paid for that.
Yeah,
if you're listening.
they'll steal it.
such a gremlin?
No, did anyone feel like a needle in the ass was a lame way to go?
No.
God, he bit his hand.
He bit his hand and probably bit his.
He yanked him under the desk.
What was in the needle?
Well, I don't know. That's the
All
thing.
the dangerous stuff they keep in fifth grade classrooms.
Yeah, why was he qualified to...
Do you remember the old days where everyone would unlock their doors and you could be out at any time and your science teacher in fifth grade had like a lot of bad chemicals that you could just shoot into your ass and kill yourself?
Was Ted Bundy.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Well, supposedly another weird factoid was apparently Steven Spielberg. I think they were about ready to shoot it, or they did shoot it, where they showed his face, and he had like I think 100, not 100, but like a lot of needles all over his face.
Where did he get so many needles?
That's in itself an excellent question, which leads to why the fuck did you take it to your local science teacher? But then, I mean, we talked about Stranger Things, and that is a
that's
general
the Joyce
valid
Byers method.
That's
Yeah.
the Joyce. It's the kid method. It's the kids kind of make sense, but the Joyce Byers method too is just like that's the only smart person you can think of as the local science teacher.
Elementary science teacher.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that kind of.
And who sees a big old cocoon that has hatched and is like, yes? I'd be like,
Well,
911.
especially with all the smoke coming from the cocoon, I was like, I just saw a note. So at my job, they had monarch butterflies, and we got to watch them hatch. Where the fuck's the smoke and the lights on that one? I was like, D+ for presentation.
They both have a pupil stage.
They were, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, what the hell is this? It's well, that Pete, they call that the pupil stage. Yeah.
What is the putrid stage?
Which, by the way, also Corey Feldman, young Corey Feldman. I think it's one of his first movies. Yeah. Yeah. Little Corey Feldman. Yep.
He's like, can I have one?
Oh, until one of them tries to bite him, and then he's like, don't you think that's neat, Pete? Oh, yeah, it's cool. And it's like,
No.
yeah.
Then he puts on his 3D glasses and reads a comic book.
Yeah. Even though technically it wasn't really Billy's fault, it was technically Pete's fault for being a fucking.
She's like, oh, it's so cute.
That's what he gets for being an artist.
Oh,
30 seconds in the room.
I was always disturbed by that, though. Gizmo's just like having a seizure and shooting balls out.
And they're just kind of staring at him like Johnny Bench.
It's like
They're just
no
like,
one's doing
I hate it when
anything.
shooting balls out.
It's like no one's trying to help them. They're just like watching it.
That
That
old
would-
chestnut.
that would be horrible. Like if something bad happened to anyone else in his house, and he's just like staring at him. Like
He's still, Gizmo's still like going through something. Like
Yeah.
even after the whole thing's over, and they're just like,
and
You
the
know.
work on the puppet for how horrified, painful he looks is kind of. I mean, it's kind of like, oh god, that he's and then the scream is loud and.
They're too cognizant. Don't like it.
well, you talked about special effects are awesome in this movie, but
Uncanny Valley.
except when they like the ending where he hits the thing, it just looks like someone just like threw a toy Gizmo at like, the window.
Sometimes
It
it's
just
like a
it's
stuffed
all like
animal.
really stiff. It hits it.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if someone in the cast. So apparently, because Gizmo would break down all the time, and then also a lot of the cast. Well, Chris Wallace's team had to build that Gizmo like late in production. They hated Gizmo, and so
They literally
Yeah.
no jokes. There is a so the scene where before you actually see the Gremlins, they hang Gizmo up on the dartboard. That's the cast throwing darts at Gizmo because they fucking hated that doll. They
And
really hated
he
him.
knows it too.
Oh no, yeah, he's yeah.
But I maintain if Billy had a cat instead of a dog,
That would
those
not.
mogwais never would have grown to full height. The little furry ball would have popped off, and the cat would have been like.
And then the big conversation would have been, "Hey, Mom, where's Gizmo?" like womp womp.
I'm gonna make my controversial statement of this podcast.
We're
I
ready.
tend to drop a bomb on every one of them.
Yeah, it's okay. That's why we have you here.
I don't think Gizmo's that cute.
Oh,
he's
blow back.
terrifying.
Thank you, Dallas.
He is terrifying.
Like if my dad brought that home for me for Christmas, I'd be like, get that out of my house. I don't care
Well-
how well you play a keyboard.
he
Leave.
talks human talk.
I don't want it.
What is
He
I don't
talks
want
like
it.
I
he,
don't know.
he
It's
talks. He talks.
learning.
Am I the only
Kill
person
it.
who does not want a mogwai for a pet? Because I
No.
don't.
Yeah,
She didn't want one.
I had a Furby, and that was enough, and it was not okay.
I never even had a Furby.
No.
Dare you.
yeah. How does he get clean? Like, so
Howie Mandel
he
sacrificed
does-
his vocal cords
So
for
you
you.
know how animals will lick themselves? Like, can he lick himself because the saliva would make him
Does
multiply?
his head turn like
Oh.
That's
That was the real question.
That was the real
All
question.
of us.
That's it made us all,
I don't know.
Well, I do
Can
think
he
it's funny
clean
if you
his
look
own
up for
ass?
art for the first Gremlins movie, like fan art or just even other
use the
art.
bathroom?
I even Mondo is this company that does like releases of older films and newer films. Like they do like really fancy like new age arty posters, and some of them look absolutely amazing. And I just remember though they show the Gremlins, they draw them exactly like they were in the '84 version, not the new batch. But then they use Gizmo from Gremlins 2, who just looks gee golly darn cuter, like
no.
legitimately designed to be super cute. And they had the money to do it. And then he does not look like the fucking first movie Gizmo because he looks a little rough around the edges.
I like Rambo Gizmo is my favorite version.
That's
Rambo.
a good
Rambo.
Gizmo.
What
don't
happened?
want it, but-
What happened to him? I guess they pushed him too far. You'll get that later.
Okay.
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Dallas is looking at me like, okay, sure. Yeah,
I
you'll
just
get
keep
that.
leaning back going, Nick, do I know this? All right.
You're like Captain America. I get that reference. I don't get that reference.
I have not seen that.
Flying monkeys.
Yeah, I mean Gizmo does bleed in this movie. Is that considered liquid or what? It's not considered water.
But that's the thing. Is like, what's his blood made up of to begin with? I don't know. Like that's a.
It was written by Chris Columbus, who actually went to my high school.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not at the same time.
At the same time. No.
No, yeah, he did.
What high school did you go to? If you
I went to
don't mind sharing?
Warren JFK, which is in Warren, Ohio. That's why it's Warren JFK, not to be confused with other JFKs. And
So anything else bad about Gremlins though? I mean, we've covered the gamut. I feel.
Do you think all the chlorine in a YMCA pool would just kill anything that tried to like?
Tried it. Well, especially because I guess their pores are opening up so they can produce the babies or whatever off their backs.
So
Oh,
disgusting.
All
That's
that-
more
They're like
disgusting than
toads.
real childbirth.
Those toads that keep their babies in sacks inside their
I want to see how the Mogwais create the cocoon. And you just like start like throwing up,
Turning inside out.
turning
happens.
inside out. Yeah.
So that's one of the things I also enjoyed it a little bit better. And they show you a little bit more because really you don't even see what it looks like when they start to multiply until the end when Stripe puts his finger in. And then the second one, I actually enjoyed it where the little bumps on their back start to grow and mutate, and they're like just kind of curled up in there, and you can kind of fucking see it, and it's disgusting.
So gross.
Did anyone find it? Do you ever sit there as like because right now they can CGI anything? When you watch the Mogwais grow from the ball, and then when Stripe's skeleton just melts into goo on camera, do you ever sit there and go like, how the fuck did they do that? Like.
Craft.
Time.
No, like
Send the theme song.
because I feel like even Ghostbusters, even nowadays, like I love Ghostbusters, but you're like, well, they're probably like doing the Slimer puppet somewhere else on shotting it elsewhere, like on a blue screen or green screen, and then they have to like old school superimpose it on top of the normal celluloid, hoping that they don't fuck up the original, the negative of the original footage of them walking through the. Yeah, you're like, dear God. It's like the original Star Wars. They had to go through each frame and like scratch on the actual negative to create the lightsaber. That would be like, well, if you fuck up, shit. Yeah, you're done. You can't. I mean, yeah. Some say the whole movie's fucked up, but that's neither here nor there. It's terrifying. So it's the same thing. Like, how the hell did they do that? And I still don't know. Like, we looked the other day and I couldn't find nothing on it. Like,
I think the
Mogwais was balloons.
I
like
think
with
Gremlins
fur.
are real.
yeah. they just incinerated a real
It's real.
gremlin.
What do we come to the conclusion on? We think
Based on
gremlins
a
are
true
real.
story.
It's really
Based on
what?
I think it looked.
Story.
I think the one bubbling gremlin is probably just like a balloon that they inflate.
Well,
and
the
deflate.
balloon, but like when they actually showed like the skeleton like fully formed, just slowly just conflate and melt and turn into goo, and that's when I'm just like, and then they cut away and they cut back, and that's when and that to me could be like, yeah, that could be a balloon.
What
Yeah.
if it was chocolate?
Just throw a chocolate bar and melt it.
Chocolate? Ooh, like do they put like green food coloring in it or something? And was that what you're saying?
Yeah, you could do that.
You know way more about confectionates and stuff like that than I will ever.
You could mold something into chocolate and then just have it melt. That's
Chocolate melts
super
can confirm.
Chocolate melts.
I'm a scientist.
Seconded. And it is like sped up
Yeah, so it might
when
be.
Or
he's
butter.
melting.
Sorry.
So.
That is true.
So it might have melted slowly and it just
Yeah,
sped up
let
They
us
the
know.
sped it up.
frame rate.
I'm just more intrigued by the fact that they actually use chocolate on the set, and they're just like, "Where's our chocolate? Our green nasty chocolate? Spit it out over there." And then I don't know. I don't know
German
why
now.
it's apparently
Over there.
over there, please. No, thank you.
I still don't know how they got the Snow White clips in that Warner Brothers movie.
It's Spielberg. It was all Spielberg.
Spielberg?
Yeah, I mean, and he did Roger Rabbit, and
Yeah, I was
then
gonna say, was it Robert?
It was also chocolate.
Snow White was also
Take
chocolate.
My bit and make it funnier.
How they pitch it to Disney execs. We want to use Snow White footage. And he's like, well, as long as the Gremlins like it. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
So,
good
I want
old
you to say they love it.
damn movie.
So the last weird bit of factoid trivia I have on this movie is that, and I think we can just, unless anyone else has anything else, we can call it a day.
I was gonna say I like the soundtrack.
Oh, the
Jerry
soundtrack is really good. Oh my god.
Orchestrator of Nightmares. I've seen The Secret of Nim multiple times.
I didn't know
he also does the soundtrack for.
He also does the soundtrack for Rudy, and he also does a lot of the Star Trek films.
He did Poltergeist, which is a great soundtrack.
Yeah, he did Poltergeist. If you look him up, like I have Apple Music, and I actually, in prep for this, I would. You guys probably didn't get a chance to hear it, but we had some pre-show music with some of the Gremlin tracks on there, and some of the matter of fact, like one of my favorite instrumental scores is the part where they walk through town and it's just dead, empty. And probably full of dead people. And dead people. And they play that weird, like, ominous, like, Silent Night, Holy Night. And it's just, it's creepy as shit. And on the soundtrack on Apple Music, they give you two versions. They have one where there's no Silent Night. And then there's another one with Silent Night. And, like, it's just creepy. And it's really good. He's a wonderful composer.
He's very talented.
Yes,
I like him. And I've only sung the theme song twice, so I'll refrain. But it sounds like if a gremlin were singing its own theme song with an instrument form, that's what it would sound like.
Do it, Jess. Do it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well,
Perfect.
I will say though, the Mrs. Deagle song, like when she comes in, it's like bow, 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 bow. It feels like she's just like a really weird like marionette that's just kind of flopping around. Well, that's what the music sounds like, and it's like and also it feels very like synth based, or electronic compared to some of the rest of the score. I don't know. It feels very out of place when you're watching the movie.
And Gizmo's got a good theme.
Yeah,
I know you don't think it's adorable, but it is good.
Oh,
I don't think that song is cute.
You feel nothing. You're like,
I don't want one in my house.
So apparently the executives, after they watched like close to the final cut of the movie, after all the other battles and stuff, they thought, one of the executives, or not one, all of them agreed. They're like, we feel that you need to cut out some more Gremlins. And Steven Spielberg's response is like, and what? Just call the movie People? Is that what you want to do? And that shut him up. I was just like, good for you, Steve.
I wish they filmed this movie with all the Gremlins in it, and they just took all the Gremlins out, and then they just showed that film.
So literally, it's like 10 minutes long of just people. So you just see a shot of like Billy walking, saying hello. Like, pretty much the first half of the movie.
And taking his dog to the bank.
Taking his dog to the bank,
To work.
Mrs. Deagle. And then you cut to, he's frantically getting into the car. He's running into the school, running out of the school, running into the YMCA, running out of the YMCA.
That's hilarious.
The movie is
But you get your favorite scene, Dallas. You get the scene in the bank.
I know. That, and you would get the Christmas
You get the Christmas
tree
monologue.
speech.
Yeah.
So you're just like, what is this short film project about? Why is it called Gremlins?
I love it because it's like the opening scene is a salesman in Chinatown trying to sell a bathroom buddy to a guy in the shop, and then it just cuts away because they don't see Gizmo.
That's what maybe it would just be a movie about the inventions, because you'd get like the Christmas scene or the kitchen scene with the orange juice machine.
Which-
You just it'd
The
be a
egg
movie.
cracker that
Yeah.
would pierce your hand.
So
be
here's
a
a
movie
plot hole.
about
How the hell
inventions.
did they clean up the kitchen that fast?
Right.
With
She's
orange
a
juice?
powerful mom.
She's
She
a
is
powerful
a
mom.
badass.
The power of mom. No, I will say this though, and every time I watch it, it does make it kind of warms my heart. Is that there's the scene with the mom and the dad sitting there, they're trying to make coffee, and she's like, "I don't think we can eat this," and it's like a nice little. That's their entire relationship, and it's like it's only in one scene that you get to really see it, but it's like it says enough
The whole
about
relationship
because you're
is
just
just-
like there's a part of you that's like, "Honey, you suck at this."
It's just her
What are
putting up
you
with this shit
doing?
for
And she
100
doesn't say
years.
that at all. It's just like, I don't think we can drink
Well,
this.
she's really excited when he comes home. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, your dad's home. And she like goes in and takes his coat and
Yeah.
he's singing and all that stuff. And
I-
like,
That's
"Aw,
80s love.
domestic."
Oh, I just found out the biggest plot hole in this movie.
What?
Okay, so you know how he sells the ashtray
The smokeless ashtray.
to the gas station attendant?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Wing, when we come, we just talked about it. He doesn't have a car. Why would he? Because he makes a joke. Is like, is it an ashtray that someone tried to sell me? At the end, he comes in.
Well, did he
to get-
stop there though? Is that?
That's what he says. He stopped there, and someone tried to sell him an ashtray.
So why did he go if he doesn't?
So why did he go if he didn't have a
He
car?
had to pee.
Or maybe he did.
God
Or maybe his
damn it,
car
Chris
was parked
Columbus.
way far away. He's like,
to, like-
you know how like
It's
when you're
like
trying to
short
find
North
someone's
parking.
house and you just park so you don't look like
The
you're an
road
idiot.
Yeah,
would be
I've done
blocked
that.
because of all of the damage done by the
Yeah.
Gremlins.
Or it's winter, too.
It's winter.
They're
I
frozen.
don't know. Last shot's them walking with no cars around. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be. Well, the Futtermans were still alive, and they say it's like very hard to hear, but the guy at the news thing at the end was just like, "Hey, We're going to cut to our guy at the local hospital where Maury Futterman's going to tell you about his near-death experience with little green men or whatever. And you're just like, oh, cool. Because when I watched the second one, I'm like, how the fuck did the Futtermans survive?
Yeah.
They got bulldozed. I mean, and granted, they're right near the window, and you can go, oh, they jumped out the window. But are they going to jump out the fucking window?
Did Murray jump out the window?
Well, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. And also, like, he seemed really, oh, my God, it's a gremlin, an actual gremlin in my cab. So,
Cab's not a foreign car.
Do you guys ever wonder in real life? Like, so he was like just watching his Red Skelton, totally unaware.
by the way, good on picking that up. By the way, Red Skelton.
Anything, yeah,
Nice.
Like just sitting there watching TV, unaware of all the carnage and crazy stuff going on. Much like, to bring it up again, Stranger Things. My favorite, Ted Wheeler, so clueless, doesn't know anything that's going on. Do you ever wonder if, like, in real life, there is some weird shit going on, and you're just the clueless one? I think
You're
about
like,
that a
you're
lot.
blowing my fucking mind.
Like,
right
what
now.
if there's little monsters out there right now, guys, and we're just the clueless ones?
We're just not. We're not hearing
The
about it now. Is it a
blissfully
Is it
unaware.
because it's a government cover up kind of thing, or
Yes, it's somebody else's problem.
who?
Maybe
A
we
bunch
don't
of
have-
teenagers and on bikes.
Yes.
Power Rangers.
Maybe we don't have the licensing rights and we can't see it. So
Get out of here without cheese! You're a creep! Go away! We're having a good time until you start up, cheapers! Go have some coffee with cream or something! Because I'll tell you something! This is a happy place!